everyone, I'm Alli and welcome to my channel. I know the holidays are quickly approaching, so I figured let's do a couple really easy DIY gift ideas that you can put together so last minute because all of these projects take under an hour to make. And you want to stay tuned in this video because it is part of a collaboration. So I'm gonna have ideas in this video. Then my friend Claire over at Oh What a DIY, she also made some DIY last minute gift ideas that you'll want to check out. I'll have a little more on that later on in the video. Something I have always wanted to try is this Fimo Leather Effect polymer clay, and it works just exactly like a normal polymer clay would, so I just rolled it out to a thin sheet. Then I went in with a little container lid that I had to cut out a circular shape. I did use my fingers a little bit just to smooth out the edges, but I decided that leaving it a little rough looking would kind of further that leather effect that we were going for because it would give it that kind of rough, natural edge. Next, I made a hole on the top of each of these little leather pieces that we're going to be turning into keychains with a toothpick like so. Then I picked up some little rubber stamp letter stickers, and on this keychain I'm spelling out Dad. And then I took that same toothpick you saw earlier and just going around the edges to kind of create a faux stitched look around the edge. I think this just adds a little extra detail that these pieces needed. And then on the other keychain, I just stamped an A in the middle and repeated that same thing with the toothpick around the edges. Then I stuck these into the oven and baked them for 15 minutes following the instructions and the temperature on the packaging. Once out of the oven and cooled, I took some gold metallic paint and just filled in the initials that I put on these keychains like this. I just think this made it pop. This is totally optional, or you could use whatever color you like. I like how the gold accented these pieces, but it'd be fun to use your gift recipient's favorite color as well. Next, at the craft store, I picked up these little keychain pieces like this. You could use any sort of keychain set that you can find, and I also have some gold jump rings to match. I opened up one of the jump rings using my pliers, inserted it through the hole on our keychain, and then attached it to the jump ring that is on the keychain. Now for the other one, I had these little paper clips from Dollar Tree with tassels on them. You can buy these tassels at other places as well. I removed the paper clip and then did the same thing where I added a jump ring to the tassel, and then I added a jump ring to the keychain, linked those together, and then used those jump rings and added them to the jump ring of the keychain. Hopefully I said jump ring enough in this past segment. But that completes this really cute gift that is so easy to personalize, and it's just a simple way to even make a gift tag for a package that somebody can reuse. As I mentioned in the beginning, this video is part of a collab with my friend Claire over at Oh What a DIY. She also is making some DIY last minute gift ideas, and you'll get even more inspiration by heading down to the description box and clicking the link to her video. That'll take you to her channel, and if you are going from my channel to hers, make sure you let her know that I sent you. And if you're coming from her channel to mine, hi and welcome. I am so excited to have you here. So let's go into the next DIY gift idea. Been really into film photography lately, so this is a great gift for a photographer in your life or that friend that is always taking pictures when you're out. This is just a fun little photo display that you can make in just a matter of minutes. So I'm starting with this 8-inch long little piece of scrap wood right here. I actually picked these up at Dollar Tree. They're super handy. I also picked up a piece of bosswood and then this really extra thin dowel or bosswood piece like so, though you could just use the bosswood that you already purchased. I just thought this would be a little bit more convenient. So the first thing I did was cut down the bosswood into smaller little strips, and I made them 7 inches long. That way they'd be a little bit shorter than the 8-inch wood pieces that we're working with. And bosswood is so awesome because you can cut it right down with an X-Acto knife. It is so easy. And then I cut this piece down. It's 3 inches wide, so I cut it down into 3 1-inch strips, and then I just had to cut out one additional strip on the bosswood on a new little section so that I'd have 4 1-inch pieces. I also made sure to cut down this little thin strip here, and I cut that into 2 7-inch pieces as well. Next, I'm taking some wood glue and adding a very thin amount to this little piece right here, sticking it down to one of the 1-inch bosswood pieces, and then sandwiching another one of the 1-inch pieces on top. I cleaned off the excess glue with a paper towel and then just used these little Dollar Tree clamps to hold it all together so that that glue could dry. Once it totally had dried, I used a little bit of sandpaper just to clean up the rough edges, and then I'm going to use Gorilla brand hot glue because this has such super strong bond. It is great for adhering to wood, and I'm going to center these the best that I could. I just eyeballed it right onto the 8-inch little pieces of wood like so, and then you already have your little photo holder taking shape. And these are so great because now you kind of have a blank canvas. You can leave them like this, you could just give them a nice coat of a polyurethane, you could stain them, but I decided to go in with some paint, have a little fun, and do some color blocking. So I used these 2 shades of paint just because I really liked them. These colors were also sent to me by Plaid, so a huge thank you to them. And I used some painter's tape to block off the areas that I didn't want to paint. Basically, I wanted to have a very thin line on the edge of this little 8-inch wood piece that would not have the paint on it, so it had just a very nice look. You'll see kind of what I mean here in a couple of seconds. After I got on the paint, 2 coats of it took to completely cover all the way around these wood pieces, I immediately removed the painter's tape. This is just so you can get a very nice clean line in the end. And then the best way to give this gift to somebody is to either print out some photos of you guys or some of their favorite photos that they've taken, or even ask to borrow some of their favorite photos. That way they're ready to go and display when they receive them. And I just think this would make such a sentimental gift, and also makes fantastic room decor. Now, I absolutely love my Cricut, and I think it's a great way to make some customizable gifts and pieces like that. So I'm using these 2 little mason jar mugs that are actually from Dollar Tree, but they're very high-end looking. So I really love them, and they're great for making a gift. And I took some permanent white vinyl and I just cut that down to size. I stuck it on my mat and then took it over to my Cricut machine and cut out these 2 designs that you see right here. One that just says coffee, repeated a couple of times, and then these really cute flower shapes. I will make sure that these are available in the description box for you to download. Once my designs were cut out, I just weeded out the excess vinyl and then used some transfer tape, cut that to size, stuck it really good on the vinyl designs, and then took that and stuck it right onto the flat sides of these mugs. And this is very easy to do, and I just used the little Cricut squeegee tool to make sure everything was nice and flat and in place. Of course, you can make this say whatever you want for whoever you're giving the gift to. The possibilities are endless on this one, and I really just love how simple and minimal these end up looking. It's just a very fun and clean design, and it just looks so good. If you're enjoying this video so far and are getting some good DIY gift idea inspiration, give this video a like. It truly is the best way to help out my channel. Now let's make some very simple and customizable wall art that you can give to whoever you want. I'm using a Monstera leaf pattern that I drew out, and I'll be sure to link this in the description box if you want to print out the exact pattern that I'm using. So after removing everything from the frame, I'm just using the glass piece here, and then I'm going in with a paint pen and I'm going to start tracing the outline of these Monstera leaf shapes that I made. And I found with this, the key is to just go very smoothly as you're going. You want to kind of have a fluid motion, otherwise you're going to get a little jolt in the paint pen. You're going to kind of see that hand movement. So if you just keep a nice steady pressure while following the lines, you'll get the best result. And don't worry about not hitting the lines exactly as you're following the pattern that you're creating. It is supposed to be organic and fun and abstract, and just really have fun with it. And of course, I'm using Monstera leaf pattern here, but you could do absolutely anything that you want with this idea. You could write out a quote, you could draw out their favorite animal, a shape, one of those really cool minimal face portrait kind of things, if you know what I'm talking about. Any sort of line art design is perfect for this project. Now, because my paper was a little bit smaller than the size of the frame, I actually just stuck down some tape and then stuck the paper on top that's going to be in the background of the frame. And then I decided that I wanted to make some kind of color block shapes that would go behind the leaves. And I started out with this pearlescent paper that I really liked here, but I found out that it didn't quite work with the white outlines. So ultimately, I ended up cutting out some darker green leaf shapes like this and used a regular old glue stick to glue them down and kind of try to place them the best that I could so that they would line up behind these line leaf drawings. Then after everything was all stuck down, just reassemble your frame, and that completes this very custom piece of art that makes a perfect sentimental gift that I know your gift recipient would love to display proudly in their home or their room or wherever they so choose. Next up, I wanted to create a custom journal that it would be a wonderful gift to give somebody. I'm starting out with just a very plain blank journal. This one's actually a sketch pad, but you could use a dotted notebook or a lined notebook, either works. And then I picked up this very lovely fabric from the remnant section at Joann's, and I love this because it actually has a vinyl backing on it, which is going to make this project so much easier because you won't have to worry about the fabric fraying, and it's going to be a very nice, tough, and sturdy fabric. First things first, I cut the fabric down to size so that I'd have a little bit bigger than what I would need to cover the full journal. Then I used some hot glue to first attach the fabric to the spine of the journal. I found to make tiny little cuts and then fold that little spine tab down and then hot glue it into place like so. That was just the neatest way to get the cover covered. And then I took the fabric, pulled it nice and tight, and wrapped it around the book cover and back cover. And you see me putting hot glue onto the actual cover here, but I didn't like how that looked. So my recommendation is to just put the hot glue around the edges of the fabric like I'm doing right here, the part that folds into the inside of the book that you wouldn't see, your gift recipient would never see. Then I'm taking some really lovely scrapbook paper. I found this at Joann's and I just loved the pattern. It kind of reminded me of that olive tree trend that is going on right now, and I cut it down to the size to fit the inside, front, and back cover. This is going to just be to add a little customization and hide that part where the fabric is folded over. Now my method to apply these pieces is actually using some Mod Podge. I put a thin layer of the Mod Podge onto the paper, and I also applied some onto the cover as well. Now Plaid actually sent me this little tool set here that you can kind of use to squeegee on different things with the Mod Podge, and this was super helpful and worked really well for the project. So I'll be sure to link this below if you want to find a cool little roller and squeegee set like this. It is amazing. Next up, this is totally optional, but I thought it'd be nice to add a nice leather tie around the book cover. So I cut a piece of this leather cording to size, just enough so it would wrap all the way around the book cover and tie in the front. And then I hot glued that to the center back of the book cover. And then just to make sure that this was nice and secure, I took a very small scrap of the fabric and hot glued that down over top of the leather cord. This is just to make sure that that does not remove as this leather cord gets wear and tear as the gift recipient unties and reties that cord. And finally, as an extra detail, you could either use paint pens or stickers or any sort of decal that you want, but on my Cricut, I cut out this really cute flower shape and then typed out the word notes at the bottom, and I stuck that right on top of the fabric, and this is permanent vinyl, so it will stick and will be there permanently, and I think this was just the extra touch that this DIY gift needed for that added personalization. Don't forget to go check out Claire's video linked in the description box for even more gift idea inspiration. And that's all I have for you in today's video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!